Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you found us. My name is Kerry. I am the founder of Moms Against Racism Canada. And this month, we are going to be talking about revolutionary mothering. And so before I get into that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Moms Against Racism. Our mission in MAR is to educate moms and those in mothering roles in anti-racism, cultural competence, and decolonization so that they have the tools and support to dismantle racism within themselves, their families, and their communities. Through mutual learning and gentle leadership, we empower our members to become active allies in ending systemic racism. We are a federally registered Canadian nonprofit organization. And I myself come to you from the unceded traditional territories of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, in an area that is now known as Victoria, BC. And I started Moms Against Racism just back in June of 2020 because my mom friends and I were having more conversations about racism and anti-racism, and I wanted to create a space that we could have those conversations together. And at the very beginning of that process, one of my wonderful friends that I had invited into being part of this conversation had lent me this book, Revolutionary Mothering. And you know, there's times in life where things come to you or are given to you or people come into your life and it's just that perfect timing. And this book was that perfect timing. And it really shaped for me how I wanted MAR Canada to be and what kind of space we wanted it to be. And since the inception of MAR Canada, we've done a lot of things and are doing a lot of things. But one of the things for this month that we're going to be doing is an interview series around revolutionary motherers. And it fits in line with our vision of what MAR is. And I'll share that with you because we believe that as moms and those in mothering roles, we have the power to change the world through the relationships that we build with our children. And when we say our children, we mean not just the ones that we are directly responsible for, but the world's children, because there are no other people's children. We have the power to shape the next generations. We have the power to end racism where it starts, and that's in the home. There's no role in this world that has more influence over the future than a mothering role. Together, we can choose to stop breathing hate and fear into our next generations and instead foster within them acceptance and love. Together, we can choose to instill values of social justice like access, inclusion, equity, diversity, participation, and human rights. We can instill those into the hearts and minds of our next leaders. And we believe together in our children, we can build a world for our descendants where everyone is valued. And so, there are some really amazing people, amazing human beings who are doing this type of revolutionary mothering across Canada, across the world, in the US. And so we've reached out to many people to ask them, to invite them to participate in this series. And so this is going to be your first video. We're hoping to bring you a video or an interview each day this month. It's a lofty goal. We'll see if we meet it. But it's, shoot for the moon and you land within the stars. So to get us started, what I wanted to do was just read a little excerpt. And I should tell you why we chose Revolutionary Mothering for the month of March. And that's because to honor International Women's Day that's happening in March, as well as the UN International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. So revolutionary mothering, what is that? I mean, it seems kind of like an interesting concept, we'll say. And I think the best way to explain it is to read from the book, because it's an amazing read. It is an anthology that is edited by Alexis, Pauline, Gumbs, China Martens, and Mai'a Williams. And so here in the back part of the book, just going to read you a little bit. It says, "We are looking at mothering as an investment in the future that requires a person to change the status quo of their own lives, of their community, and of the society as a whole, again and again and again, in the practice of affirming growing, unpredictable people who deserve a world that is better than what we can even imagine." So in this section of the book, we remember that many people do the labor of mothering without the luxury of the status of motherhood. In the United States, Black mothers have not been seen as entitled to motherhood, no matter how many people they have worked to nurture in their own families and as domestic workers for centuries in this country. Immigrant mothers are often excluded from motherhood, as motherhood is a category of citizenship. And as we can see from the many parents and children who are being deported away from each other right now, rights to motherhood are not respected for non-citizens. LGBTQ people in the United States face barriers to parenting and legal hoops that deny them access to the people that they mother. Just yesterday, a friend who came out to her mother reached out to me horrified because her own mother threatened to take away her son, unable to imagine that a lesbian could be a good mother. And many people do the labor of mothering who would never even dream of identifying as mothers, even though they do the daily intergenerational care work of making a hostile world an affirming space for another person who is growing mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And some queer mothers, like the mothers of houses in gay ball culture, boldly honor the fact that they mother queer youth whose families have often rejected them. The queer thing is that we affirm each other beyond the limits of our bodies, our limits, and our imaginations. Mothering is a queer practice of transforming the world through our desire for each other and another way to be. And so that's why we're honoring revolutionary motherers this month. We are talking with those people who are building those communities, who are working to break through and change the status quo, that they're doing so in a way that is caring for these people, caring for the communities. And I'm so excited to be doing this series, and so grateful for all of the people who have already signed on to give their thoughts on what revolutionary mothering is and to share with us how they are currently doing that, and then to leave us with some advice on how to be allies and how to be dismantlers of racism. So I hope you enjoy this series. The videos will be available to share, and you can definitely share with your networks, and join us in Moms Against Racism. We are there for those moms and people in mothering roles who want to change the world. Thank you.